Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got former Outlaw member and former Hells Angel member, Bob and PeeWee.
But yeah, and before I went to England, I got to go down to Bike Week in Daytona, and so you know how that is for the Outlaws. I think that's a mandatory.
That's a big one.
Yeah, so I got to meet all the leadership of my club in Daytona too. That was only 3 months I had my patch. That was really cool because on your way out the door, the older members like, don't forget, no patch is bigger than yours. And actually, they were cool that way down there. That's how they treated everybody.
Yeah,
they treated everybody like an equal.
Yeah, they always used to say Daytona was all outlaws. That was their gig. That was their thing.
Yeah.
And then Sturgis always was ours, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was funny. This one member, I don't want to mention his name. He's out of the club now, but he was heading to Florida, to Daytona, and he had his patch on, and he stopped in New Orleans, right? I was bouncing down there at a club for Mardi Gras, and I was making big money. And he stops by with another Hells Angel, and he says, "Hey, brother, how you doing, man? We're gonna head up to Florida for Daytona week." And I said, "Are you crazy?" And he says, "Why?" I said, "Man, it's all outlaws there. You're gonna show up there wearing your patch?" And he goes, "Yeah." This is like, he's a 40-year member. I mean, 50-some years he was in the club. He goes, "Yeah, fuck him. I'm going." I said, "Okay." Next thing I know, I get a phone call. "Hey, did you hear what happened to so-and-so?" "No, he's going down the main street, and you guys used to have the clubhouse right on Main Street there."
Yeah.
Somebody ran right out there and hit him right with a pipe on the head. Boop.
They did?
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah. And I said, "Hey, man, I told him that was going to happen."
Didn't even wait. Didn't even ask questions.
And like Bob will tell you, like one of the guys from Minnesota, he was a bad dude. I met him when he first got out of prison on manslaughter charge. And he had a big death head on his chest, and he had one on his forearm. But the one on his forearm he still had. He quit the club. He was out of the club for years. And he went to Daytona, and I'll be a son of a bitch. He told me a bunch of outlaws surrounded him in a bar. They didn't have their patches on because I guess he got a no patch law. But he said they had belt buckles on. He said, "I knew who they were." And he said they surrounded me, and they told me, "Hey, you one of those angels?" And he said, "No, I used to be. I quit." And they said, "Well, hey, we're giving you a heads up, man. We don't let this fly here. We're giving you a break. Get the hell out of here." And they just told him to beat it. I mean, they could have gave him a good beating.
They seen his tattoo.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Bob, you always look for that. Belt buckles, rings, tattoos, hats, belts.
Pendants tucked in the shirts.
Yeah, man. It gets almost to a point. I still find, I've been out of the club 15 years now, and I still find myself looking when I go places.
Me
I always
too.
try to, you know what I mean? I don't know. I try to make sure I know who's around me,
When a bike goes
I
by,
was eating at a bar yesterday, and a bunch of pagans walked in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of their home base.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't watch my show.
Well, I know, like back in the day, we weren't like doing stuff together, but we had a thing with the pagans where they didn't bug us and we didn't bug them, sort of thing, for the Outlaws anyway, because they were pretty serious on the Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah, they used to be a really small elite group of guys. Not that they're not, some of them now aren't, but they were like a very exclusive group. Like just anybody couldn't join them. They were very tight knit, and then it just exploded with the blue wave. It's just different.
Yeah. I've never seen one, Bob.
A pagan?
I've never seen one in real life.
No, I've never met one either.
The first one I've ever seen in real life was yesterday.
Yeah, I've never met one.
And look at me and Bob. Me and Bob were at major clubs, and we never seen one. You know what I mean? And that's because what Bob said. They were small. And they were just up around Philadelphia. And in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And now, shit, we just said it, man. They're in Nevada. They're in California, Indiana,
crazy,
Ohio, That's what
They're
he's
accepting. They're accepting black members now too.
And I don't know. I remember when I was in the club, we had a few chapters in Ohio, but it seems to me that the Outlaws have either shrunk a bit or moved some shit around, because places I remember having chapters, I don't see them in the website anymore. Is listed. So I don't know.
Bob, what about black members? Were there ever any black outlaws?
We want to get us. Yeah. When I went to England and I was patching in those clubs, one of them was called Outlaws, but they weren't like AOA Outlaws. So they had a different back patch on, and their colors were leaning towards Bandito. So they were making up their mind whether to come with us or go with the Banditos. And they had like 6 or 7 chapters, one in Wales, 2 in Wales, and spread around England, but not in London, England. Like I say, they kind of when they heard I was there and I was staying, the guys in the States, they said, well, tell them to come back with a report whether they're ready or not. So 2 of their guys in their club were black. And so they kept asking me, they kept saying, are they going to take these guys? Are they going to take George and Steve? I said, yes, my word, I'll make sure that they take these guys. So as far as I know, they took them.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. That's big. Like, because in the United States, I didn't ever see in the past, even Hells Angels. I think things are changing now.
Oh yeah, they got them now. They got them in the club now.
But have you ever seen them when you were a part of the club? Have you ever seen an African American Hells Angel?
No.
But
no, I never have. And I went to Frankfurt for a world meeting where we sat in there and we explained, because Amsterdam wanted to bring one in, right? Bring a black guy in as a prospect. And we said, you can't do it. And it wasn't about race or hating black people or any of that. I tried to explain that. It had nothing to do with the racist card. They didn't care. These guys in Amsterdam, they love this guy. They said, hey, his skin's black, but he's one of us. And all we said was, hey, man, the rules came from America. That's where the Angels started. And we basically told them, in America, the penal system is all segregated, bro. When you walk in there, Billy, well, you've been in there, man. The blacks over here, the Mexicans over here, the whites over here. It's very, very segregated, bro. Yeah. And I mean, you can't be a lone wolf out there, man. You get ate alive.
And that's the reason why the club was the way it was.
That's the only reason why they had it. So maybe now they're changing it. Maybe they'll see in the future it doesn't matter. And then if it does, well, then that's on them. They got to figure it out.
But like you say, when you go inside, you got to pick a car, and that's your car.
Yeah, right.
I was pretty shocked when I seen a black pagan member. I mean, I've seen the old school picture of the black guy wearing a pagan cut, but now in the new day and age, there are black pagan members.
Well, I've seen a picture with 4. It had a black outlaw, black pagan, black Hells Angel, a black bandito.
No way, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I never understood the color of the skin thing myself, except for, like I say, inside a jail. But I think once you get there, you can sort it out.
Right.
Just crazy. Times are changing,
Oh, yeah. Well, remember all the bikers you saw running around with swastikas and shit on?
Yeah.
I think I'm the last generation that stopped putting swastikas on my, on my body and on my rag and stuff.
Well, the Heathens motorcycle family, they have a nice big one right there on their back patch. And they're not taking it off anytime soon. They're proud of their patch. And they have an African-American member.
That's weird.
I interviewed their president.
I'm going to have to go with Bob on that one. That's weird.
But it's not about that. If you guys watch the interview I did, it's not about race at all. It's this is the guy right here. I'll show you the president. I'm interviewing him now. Matter of fact, part 3 is dropping today. Part 3 or part 4 is dropping today. Yeah, you've been watching them, right?
I watched the full-length one with me finally last night.